In other news, United Airlines has diverted one of their flights after a dog mistakenly placed on the plane. The wrong plane, that is. We had the dog pass away because it was stuck into a little compartment just, a week ago prior. And I can tell you, I don't know why people bring dogs on the plane. In my opinion, they don't belong there. And I've had a personal experience that I'm going to share with you. And this, if anything, should wake some people up if they care about their animals. Years ago, I had brought my dog on a plane trip. And after the trip, we moved back to Michigan, actually. After the trip, the dog never was the same. I don't know what these people, how they stored the dog in the plane, how they treated the dog. But after that experience, the dog was skittish. The dog was protective, overprotective. And he just didn't act the same. And I think that we shouldn't be bringing dogs on airplanes. I think it's cruel. Now that I look back on it, that was one of the mistakes I've made in my life, was bringing the dog on the airplane to come back. I should have just drove back. If you're going to bring a dog on some kind of vacation or trip, drive there. Drive there. Or don't bring the dog. Put the dog in a boarding place. Something. Have a dog sitter. If you're in Michigan, let me know. I'll dog sit your dog. We'll work out some kind of fee or something. Because taking dogs on a trip, they don't know what's going on. Second, we don't know how they treat dogs, animals in general. But I have a feeling they're not treated all that great. And after the way my dog reacted after that trip, I just think it's something cruel, and we shouldn't be bringing dogs on trips, at least via an airplane. Take the dog on a trip if you're driving. Dogs love car rides. I don't think they like plane rides as much. Remember, they have different sensitivity with their hearing and their other senses. And that cabin pressurization can affect them. On top of a whole lot of other human issues, being around a whole bunch of strangers. We had the one dog that pooped on the plane. Why do you have a dog on a plane? What else is in the news? Don't threaten a nuclear power. Putin rejects British ultimatum on Russian spy attack. Vladimir Putin envoys in the UK have refused to respond to Britain's ultimatum over the chemical attack of former British spy Sergei Skripal and his daughter Yulia in Salisbury. In a statement on Twitter, the Russian embassy threatened retaliation if Theresa May was to respond with punitive measures. The ultimatum has sparked World War III fears as White House sources reveal the Prime Minister could launch a cyber attack on Russia in the wake of such events. Do you ever wonder, all these cyber attacks that are going on, if they're just not done by all the governments of the world, and there's very few hackers out there doing it on their own? I've often wondered that it's the governments fighting with each other. And these are acts of war. A cyber attack is an act of war. A supposed chemical attack is an act of war. Russia flying bombers not far off our coast could be considered that. Challenging us. We've been challenging them. The North Korea situation. And we're worried about domestic issues. that are irrelevant, in my opinion. Here we are, year by year by year, taking more steps towards a greater conflict that's eventually going to happen. When is it going to happen? I don't know. But we're moving in those directions each and every day. The governments of the world try to get along, then they can't get along. They're doing espionage on each other constantly. We have election fraud in the U.S. supposedly by the Russians, although we can't find any evidence that they influenced the populace enough in one direction or the other. In fact, we've seen them, plenty of evidence that is, that they were playing both sides of the issue. Yet we do the same thing. We've toppled governments. We've interfered in elections. We've supplied rebel groups that turned out to be terrorist groups that became a problem. See, when we have this whole Russian investigation, and just to get on that, the Republicans, that is, have decided to end their investigation into Russian meddling. They're saying there's not much there, or not enough to affect the election in any regards. Of course, the Democrats and Mueller are going to keep going on. You had Mueller subpoena some more things this week. This thing's going to go on forever, and it's not producing anything of relevance. And all it's doing seems like it's making Russia a little uppity. China gets to be a little uppity lately. I guess with the Europeans having their dispute with Russia, maybe it'll take the focus off the U.S. having their dispute with Russia. Russia's not a good character in this world. Putin's a bad guy. But we've interfered in elections. We've used social media to direct the hearts and minds of the population of a foreign country. We don't seem to do it much in these third world nations that, oppress women and have religious beliefs that are killing people. We don't seem to have the social media attack dogs for that. There'll be attack dogs if you don't like the Black Panther movie, or if you don't like some kind of feminist agenda. Oh, there's a ton of attack dogs for that. First world agendas, First world agendas are very important to first worlders. Especially when you're a social justice warrior. But you don't see those social justice warriors too worried about the oppression of women in third world countries. Heck, Black Panther comes out, and that movie, in a nutshell, is a portrayal of isolationists that used territorial warfare to dominate other tribes. They hold back all their technological advancements, and they have a nationalistic political belief. Adolf would be proud. It's like the guy in South Africa that wants to take all the houses away from a certain group that has a low melanin count. Same thing. Of course, we have the Republicans who have lost a House seat in Pennsylvania. But there's more than that should be rattling them, ladies and gentlemen. The most dangerous outcome for the Republicans in Tuesday's special House election was not the prospect of a Democrat taking over one of their seats. It was the shrugging off of the great tax plan that they supposedly had. And that's right, that tax plan was so awesome that the average individual who sees no benefit, the individual that sees no benefit from that, unless you have kids and you can claim the kids. We also have gas prices could rise this spring and approach a tipping point. They're saying that price of a gallon of gas could go up to $2.70. Well, let's see. We have spring. It always jacks up during spring and summer. That's when it's most expensive. Don't ask me why they came up with the rules. I didn't. They have their own reasons why these gas prices go up. Used to be more obvious, if there were tensions in the world somewhere and it would disrupt the flow of oil, then gas would go up, right? Now it's for any reason. We have turmoil, it doesn't seem to go up, but if we don't have turmoil, it goes up for another reason. So we can never tell why it goes up, why it goes down. Probably just that rich people aren't getting enough money and they figure they better charge more per gallon because they can get more in the summer because people travel more. Of course, that great tax reduction that the Republicans gave us back in December, that's going to be for naught because they want, or at least some GOP members, want an internet tax. That way if you buy anything online, it goes to them because, hey, they've got to get their cut. I don't know what the hell they're doing to get that cut. But they want their cut, ladies and gentlemen. And if you don't get that cut, if you're not the government and you don't get that cut, that's bad. You're avoiding paying your taxes and we need more tax money. It literally is a ball of crap. We have to constantly be barraged with this tax plan, and then it works for a minute, but it's not good enough, so we got to get a second round of tax plan. But then in the second round of tax plan, we can actually raise taxes somewhere else to help us offset the cost of the lost tax revenue that happened because we gave 1% back to the individual. It's ridiculous. When we get back on the other side of this, we're going to talk about some Michigan issues that are on the horizon that a lot of people are debating over. And, well, I have my 2 cents on that. Stay tuned. We'll have more right after this. Where do you think you're going?
The John Lebang Show will be right back.
So grab a beer and a smoke and sit your butt back down. Stay right here. Pane in the Glass, commercial and residential window cleaning for a beautiful sparkling shine that's crystal clear. Call Pane in the Glass Window Cleaning. You can find them on Facebook at Pane in the Glass.
If you want to contact the John Lebang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John Lebang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John Lebang Show. Now here's John.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we're in the final segment here in the first hour. I want to get to a local issue that's really come to the forefront. There are a lot of people discussing the fact that we need some kind of updated transit system here in the state of Michigan so that the people who don't have the money to afford their own vehicle can find some way in and out of the city and other places to get jobs. The business owners out there, this is the excuse they're using. The business owners out there want this transit system because it'll bring them more people to work for them. That's the excuse going around. And we're now having bills talked about, and they're trying to get some legislation, and they're acting like they're going to give us something back in return. But you always know that when the government does something, that you don't actually get what is promised. Doesn't always turn out that way. Here we are, and I think they want, it's like $5 billion, or it's some